How's it going, everybody? I have a little bit of extra time this morning before I get my day going, so I'm going to go ahead and make a poster for you. Today we're going to be pulling out of my movie collection, so let's head over to the randomizer. All right, so let's copy and paste. The Prince of Egypt. Oh, that's perfect. We just watched this. It took me years to finally get the Blu-ray copy of this movie, and I'm so glad that I did because there was tons of work put into this movie, and you can clearly see it in great detail. The mastering on the image and audio, just fantastic. If you don't own the Blu-ray, highly recommend it. All right, so I've always kind of known what I was gonna do if I ever came across this movie. So what we're gonna do is a very simplistic design, and let's go ahead and jump into Illustrator and get started. So typically I make my posters 18 by 24, but because it's a movie and a big grand scale movie, I decided to make it 18 by 27. So this is the image that I always think of. This is the thing that always comes to mind every time I think about this movie. It's the part where Moses uses his staff to part the Red Sea. So what we're gonna do here is actually very simple, although a little bit time consuming. So I think I'm gonna speed up the process, but I'll just kind of tell you what I'm gonna be doing. All I'm gonna do is grab the pen tool and create very simplistic lines that follow the shape of the parting of the Red Sea. So not a difficult thing to do at all. I've just always wanted to create this exact image. So I'm just gonna go ahead and grab my pen tool, and I'm gonna move it over here just so I can see it a little bit better. All right, so I'm gonna lock this, and now I'm gonna grab my pen tool, and we're gonna just do this in white for now. And I'm gonna zoom in, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna follow the contours of these lines with the pen tool, and we're just gonna kind of go, just kind of gradually make it to where it's kind of just fanning out like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started, and I'll just speed this up. All right, so in these areas right here, I'll just kind of pause for a second, but I just wanted to capture, the main part where it's like a pillar of water that's going straight up right here, and then it starts to kind of fan out. So we'll fill those in just a minute, but we've got these lower parts of the water that are kind of fanning out and going this way, and then we've got some other ones. Let me adjust this one real quick. This is kind of going this way, and then you've got the undercurrent or the under water waves or whatever you want to call them. So I just wanted to make sure that I highlighted those to make sure that you actually see all of the different, currents of water that are flowing in different directions. Depending on what kind of designer you are. Sometimes smart guides can be your friends or they can be your enemies. And a lot of times when you have snapping enabled as well, that can also be your enemy. So what I like to do here is to make sure that I zoom in nice and close, and then I go up here and then click and drag my point right there. So that way I'm making sure that it's not snapping to a place where I don't want it to be. And then if it does, then I can just kind of go in and adjust it like right here, because I want some good spacing between these lines right here. You want it to be visually pleasing. I just tried to use the blending tool for this, and actually it would have been totally fine if it didn't create these weird effects down here at the bottom. So each one of these just needs to be drawn individually. And what we're gonna do is, once I'm finished, all we have to do is just flip it, and we'll just do like a mirror image, mainly to save some time. Then I think I'll just kind of go in between these and just add a few lines just to create some more definition here. All right, we're finally getting to a point where we're starting to close in on these two sections right here. So basically in some of the sections where I've created these large gaps, I just go in and I just make sure that I add in some definition, like right around here or something like that. just to make sure that we, you know, give it a little bit more detail. And then maybe something like this wave just kind of does this curve like that. I'm trying to make sure that these don't overlap each other in any strange way. I don't want it to, you know, give it this weird effect or anything. I'll just add one more line right here. There we go. Okay, so now what we'll do, now that we have all of that finished, I'm not gonna do the same thing again. I'm just gonna grab everything that's here, I'm gonna group it together, and we're just gonna click and drag, or sorry, option click and drag, and we're gonna reflect it right here, and we'll just kind of move it to about right there. I think that looks good. Looks like a whole bunch of spaghetti flying everywhere. All right, so now I'm gonna move this over here, and we'll just change this to black. For now, I'm gonna take it into Photoshop here in just a little bit, and we'll apply some effects to it there. All right, so I'm gonna center this up, and it is going a little bit off the canvas right there. It's not necessarily a big deal, but just wanna make sure that we get it to a point. I think that looks good right there, and maybe we can just kind of go something like this, where we really show the height of everything. And I don't think it necessarily needs to follow the original contour exactly, as long as the point is made. Actually, now that I look at this, it may not be super obvious what it is, but that's fine. And I'll use one of my favorite fonts for doing these more minimal type of posters here. I'll go with a light version of Inter. Inter is a Google font. Just kind of bring this in about 1.5 inches or so. Then right up here, we'll just put the names Val Kilmer and Ray Fiennes. Does it have an E at the end? I can never remember. Let me double check. Okay, I spelled it correctly the first time. We'll do optical, all caps, and now we'll just do the same thing with these two. I think that's really cool, actually, is like showing Val Kilmer on this side, Ray Fiennes on this side. It's like two opposing sides, and the water is kind of coming up in the middle. That's my, like, attempt at any type of like artistic communication. All right, so I'm pretty happy with that at 70 point right there. And let's just get our text exactly where we want it to go. Move it in also 1.5 inches, and then we'll move it up to the top and then push it down. Oops, let's go to align to artboard. There we go. Okay, very good. And we'll bring this down to about, yeah, 50 is good. Okay, so now I'm gonna copy all of this, and we're gonna paste it directly into Photoshop. So we'll paste it as a smart object in case we ever wanna go back and change anything about this. But I'm going to make this just a solid color, probably like a dark brown or something like that, with not a lot of saturation. And now we're gonna double click on the Vector Smart Object, and I wanna do like a gradient overlay on this. So what I wanna do is like some really light blues for the water, something kind of like this. And let's zoom out really quickly so we can kind of see everything. But I really do like that. I may brighten this up just a little bit, but still keep that saturation nice and low. Kind of going for those, like, you know, those ancient Egyptian gold tones versus the blue tones. I think I may actually go a little bit lighter with this, and then we'll kind of go almost into like a seafoam green type of thing. And we could also reverse it. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, I'm not as big a fan of that. I like how it gets a little bit higher and gets a little bit less blue and a little bit more green. And then we'll just kind of overlay like a Egyptian papyrus paper on top of this. And then we'll just go through the blending modes and find out which one we like best. That one's actually pretty cool. That's a little bit of a darker type of orange that I was going for. That's pretty cool too, because it kind of brings in some of those blues, but it does kind of drown out the artwork a little bit. I actually really like this. This is nice. It's like a darker version of the paper. And let's see if we can kind of change the mood of it a little bit. There we go. Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay, and then the last step, we'll just kind of burn the artwork into the paper a little bit. So we'll set a Gaussian blur of 3, and that will do it. So here is our Prince of Egypt Parting of the Waters poster. It almost has like a very Egyptian type of feel to it as far as the design goes. So I think that that really plays well into this poster here. All right, well, thanks a lot for watching me make that Prince of Egypt poster. If you've never seen the movie, highly recommend it. It's really well done. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe, and click the bell for notifications to be notified of all future content. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.